Welcome to Newrealities. I'm Alan Steinfeld, and this program is about the evolution of consciousness and starting to understand ourselves as spiritual, energetic beings. And that is why I have my guest here tonight, Nyei Murez. She is a student and a practitioner of magical passes, the Castaneda work, which for me, Carlos Castaneda was one of the principal figures that helped me understand that there was more to reality than just this physical world. And I read all his books, and for me, they were true. They were a truth, and they are real, and the work is real, and the work is about shifting consciousness. So thank you, Nyei, for being here.
Thank you, Alan, for having me. Really happy to be here.
We'll get into the magical passes, but there is a lot of controversy about Castaneda, and I'm just curious because he is one person I always wanted to meet. And so, What was he like?
What was he like? He wrote about, because people ask him about Don Juan. What was Don Juan like? And ultimately, he said Don Juan was a collection of stories of awareness. So, what was he like?
Wait, does that mean Don Juan wasn't real?
Oh, not at all.
Don Juan was
just that we gather these stories in our lifetime, so we become this accumulation of awareness. And I'll tell you two ways. I'll tell you.
Yeah.
Because laughter followed him everywhere. Anytime any of us would, me and other students of his, you could tell when somebody was talking to him because there'd be a lot of belly laughs. So he was filled with joy. And for me, it's present tense because I feel like he's still present in spirit with us, guiding us what we do. He's somebody that really lived fully what he taught and what he practiced. So he's fully in the moment. So anything that he did in the time that I was working with him, it's still resonating now.
Right, because that's what a real teacher does for
It's
you.
absolutely the case.
But it was full of laughter because nothing is serious?
Not that nothing is serious. It's just that really, if you are connected, we'll talk about with your essence, which in this tradition is called the energy body.
Right.
There's a joy about it, so we can find joy everywhere. And what we don't want to be so serious about, which he really conveyed, is our self, our person.
Right.
Our
dramas.
Our dramas, our judgments.
Yeah.
Our sense of being a victim. It's somebody did it to me. So it's a great reminder that our journey is all about perception. So how do I tell the story?
Right.
How do I tell the story of my experience? And that's where we go back to Don Juan's A Collection of Stories. He's telling the story of the energetic facts of what happened, the perception of energy linked with the physical world. So if we get into he said this and she said this and this person was nice to me and this person wasn't, which we can every day if we don't make a decision to go somewhere else.
The somewhere else is the energy, you're saying?
The somewhere else is the energy. The somewhere is, literally, Florinda Donner Grau, one of Carlos's colleagues, would talk about, you can just say, lift up, because our energy will literally, you can see it, you'll have chords that will go down. And we're bottom feeding in terms of, or do we want to come up and really look at the gratitude and the miracle of everything that's happening? So for me, that can serve as a reminder when you hear somebody that's maybe you feel like missing the point. For me, it's like, okay, where am I missing the point right now? If that's in my energy field, it's a reminder.
You mean people who complain all the time, who worry, who, you could, you see their energy bodies just.
Well, Carlos would say in the luminous field, the energy body is a separate sphere, and then we've got a luminous electromagnetic field
around the physical body
that surrounds and goes through the physical body. And he would see cords. You have cords that should be up here, and the cords, and you can feel it. If you're kind of sagging, and then your body will go with that, and your breath. So the breath will stop, and this will go, and or do I want to inhabit this magnificent, intelligent form, breathe, and then I'm going to appreciate Even if somebody's doing something I don't like, what is it teaching me?
I
What does it
like
bring
that, because
to
just
me?
as you said that, I feel like, that's the truth about magical passes. The tensegrity work is about lifting the field, right?
Lifting the field, enlivening the field. Is your field, bushy and bright, or is your field, and you can see it, it's what we embody, and that's what's for me, that's why Carlos brought out these movements called magical passes, because at a given moment you would see he would give lectures about his books and things like that. But Carol Teagues came along and said, you know what? We need to bring out the movements, because we need to really see, what are we embodying? What we do in this physical form, then there's an energetic aspect that happens with it. Is there flow, or are we stuck? In a physical sense, is the lymphatic system that cleans our blood, is it flow? If it is, our energy flows. If it's stuck, you know what, our energy's stuck and our perception's stuck, and we'll keep repeating, if John would just stop doing this, I would be fine. You see little kids, well, my sister, my brother, or can we mature and say, oh, you know what, we're dreamers, we affect our experience, and it starts just with how am I sitting, how am I breathing right now.
Well, when I met Florinda and Carol and Tasha at the workshop I did, they opened their lecture saying, I am dreaming this workshop.
Yes.
And so we're dreaming this.
We are.
And we could choose however way we want to be in this dream.
Yes.
We may not be able to affect what we think is the dream, but we could choose how we feel about the dream. And that will change the dream.
You nailed it for me, because you said how we feel about the dream.
It's feeling.
You didn't even just say how we think about it. You said how we feel about it.
Thinking doesn't mean anything.
Well, feeling is everything. And Don Juan would talk about the world as a feeling. And he talks about seeing energy or perceiving energy, but he'd use the visual term seeing, and he'd say that's because our culture is so oriented toward the visual, but we feel energy. We feel, if I'm really tuned in, I'm conscious of do I have a sense of my feet? Am I breathing? Then I can sense how, I can close my eyes. First I'll sense, how do I feel? What's going on here? What's in my field? Then I can be much more present. What's in your field? What's in the room? And we know, there's a part of us that knows. Yeah. That perceives, that tunes in directly. And so it's about getting certain things out of the way and refining that. So the magical passes as movements and positions of body and breath that help us gather enough energy to have an option. Is it going to be complaint, or is it going to be appreciation in this moment?
I just saw Marina Abramovich. You know who she is? She's a performance artist, and she would just stare at people. The artist is present. She'd just stare and feel them. But she also did another piece where she had people come into a museum and put on headphones. Yes. And just walk around the space. They were the art piece themselves with headphones, feeling themselves.
How beautiful.
The headphones were silent, so they couldn't hear anything outside of themselves.
Wow.
Except themselves. And she talked about art of the future being about consciousness.
Oh, I'm so interested.
You should look her up. And this other thing that came to mind was when I was...
That's so connected with this.
Yeah, I was talking to Ken Wilber. You know Ken Wilber, the big spiritual philosopher. He says thinking is at the top of the list. And I said to him, don't you have to feel before you think? And he said to me, you may be right, but I can't think about it now. He said that. He said that to me. And the other thing that came up about what you said, the thing about thinking is what Castaneda gets into the later books, is actually we're not doing that. We're being possessed by the flyers, or the energy that we think is us, that's thinking, and we're not the thinker. We are the feelers, but we've been convinced to think we're thinkers.
Well,
I
do.
Yeah.
It's like, it's really easy to make comments. For example, sometimes we think we're thinking and we're pointing out. We could go on forever. I think that this person is my problem, or I think that everybody should listen to me.
Right.
But what's going on? What is this person doing? What am I doing?
Right. You know what Eckhart Tolle says? You start thinking, oh, that person, she looks like my sister, and then my sister had a dog, and my
There you
dog, what
go.
happened to that dog?
That's it.
And he says you're like miles down the road with your dog, totally
And you're gone,
disconnect-
and
Yes.
you're not here, and you're not
Yeah.
feeling. And Don Juan would
Yes.
talk about, we have these chains of association.
Right.
Napkin, tablecloth, fork, punch bowl, fiesta, you know?
Right.
And we're
totally
not really present.
Right.
We're not perceiving. Where's the sensory input on that?
And where's the feeling?
Where's the feeling?
So you're saying
Yeah.
Don Juan, the magical passes, is all about feeling?
That is one way to describe it, and I think it's really accurate. It's about reawakening that direct connection with this incredible, intelligent perceiver. And Don Juan talks about, and Carlos Castaneda, and you can feel it when you're really connected. You can feel your heart, right? You can feel at the core. And they would say this thing called the assemblage point, where it's a feature on our energetic field. When it comes to the core, which usually we have to allow it, we can make the effort, but we also have to, you hear about get out of your own way. Examine what are my judgments that are in my way. Who do I think I am? What roles do I think I'm supposed to play? Who do I think that person is? Oh, high status, low status. Go in the room. Who's in charge? Instead of really feeling or perceiving.
I saw a great cartoon in the New Yorker magazine. You ever read New Yorker magazine? This guy is at a bar, and he's sort of drunk, and he's yelling at the bartender saying, "You have no idea who I think I am."
That's really great. I want that on my wall.
I'll send that to you.
I'm serious. It's really, so it's yeah.
But what about this idea that the thinking part of us is an artificial implant that has overshadowed the feeling part? That Castaneda talks about.
There's different ways to look at that,
Yeah.
and I definitely, one of the things that becomes clear with my training, that the teacher would speak to the student where they were at the time or what they needed to hear. And Carlos was coming with a generation, and he's a male, and there's a lot of fear associated with going into the unknown and dealing with we talk about the inorganics and dreaming. And the culture, and you'll still see it if anybody's going to talk about supernatural stuff. On television, not to name any specific things, but a lot of times we want it to be creepy, or it's got to be associated with crime, or it's got to be, death and stuff like that. Well, the culture is catching up to where the awareness of human beings. There are human beings who have really recognized incredible perceptual, vistas, and then the culture is catching up. So Don Juan would describe to Carlos, there's these entities that are going to
attack you.
Eat your
he would
awareness
play
and
on
take
his
over
fear, though.
Exactly, and at the same time, energetically, we do look like something has munched us if we're busy focusing on the lowest common denominator.
So you're saying this example that he's saying was just a kind of, it wasn't so much real as it was to...
I'm not necessarily saying that, but it's where do you focus? Where do you put your focus?
Okay.
And so that was one way for him to show Carlos energetically, wake up. When we go down into this low space, energetically there's these, it's creepy. So let's come up, let's wake up and just be present. And the thing that helps us wake up, Don Juan would say, is discipline. And he'd say, I don't mean a cold shower at 5 every morning. And what I mean is appreciation, the art of feeling awe. Appreciating.
Is that the biggest
what is
teaching?
in your experience? I would say that's a very big part of it. I am responsible, like you said, for my experience of this, and if I have a sense of awe, it's a miracle that we're here talking. It's a miracle that we're in an upright, that we can be upright. It's a miracle that we can have chairs and still be conscious. I'm kidding, but
No, but that's Einstein's thing. Either everything is a miracle or nothing is. Right.
And look at Einstein.
Yeah.
He's got that feeling of awe. And because he's open, he can be Einstein and discover. And be an explorer in that.
So does the magical passes just get us back to awe? Does it just?
That is one thing, and of course, it's what do you intend to do with it, and you can set your intention, but that is part of the intent that these movements are imbued with, because they come from ancient times in their origin, and then they adapt.
Well, so let's go into what are, their movements. Would you want to talk about the luminous, energetic body, and what the movements do to all that?
Yeah, the movements, and one way to do it is to just show a little bit of
Do you want
movement.
to show? Can you show some?
We could show something. We could do something that we can
We
do
could do
actually
something
as
in the
we
chair?
are. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
okay.
you know what we're going to do? We'll do
What?
first. We're going to check your stance, because this is a stance also, even though
Okay,
we're not
yes.
standing. You can do
Okay.
it with me if you want. And how am I sitting? What am I holding here? Do I have a connection with my sitting bones? Do I have a connection with my breath? Do I have my feet connected to the earth? Because the earth is feeding, even though we're on maybe the second floor, there's still energy coming from the earth. Do I connected with the sky, the stars? And then from there, I'm going to do something. We can do something from the recapitulation magical passes, where I'm going to come out, and I'm tapping at the shoulders, and then at the chest and the waist.
Oh,
and this is helping forge my connection with the energy body, and therefore the energy body, which is a separate sphere, totally out of energy.
And
So let's just feel it for a second.
Uh-huh.
So there's one pass.
What did we just do, though?
We're focusing our energy. We're bringing, there's links with the energy body everywhere on our body.
The energy body is the cords of energy that come off of us? Is that the
The energy body is a separate body. Like you have your electromagnetic sphere.
I have my physical body.
You have your physical body, you have a sphere that surrounds it, and then there's a separate little, smaller, more compact,
That's attached to us at
that's
the back.
attached to us through the assemblage point. So
At
you
the
could
back.
say the back.
Or
In a way, these are, because it's ultra dimensional.
Right.
So, but it attaches to us really at the heart. When you see all these traditions that talk about the heart as the gateway to everything.
So it's an energy body that's small, that attaches, that's part of us. That is us, maybe.
It is you.
It is us.
But it's the part of you that travels in dreams, when you daydream, when you suddenly feel like you feel that the chills coming, someone's talking about, that's your energy body telling you pay attention.
And
That's
so
something you
these
might wanna
these
pursue.
movements do
Yeah.
what to that energy body?
Well, this is forging the energy body on this one,
What does it mean, forging?
giving it a shape.
Oh.
So it's setting the intention. Energy body for me, it won't be random. It'll be something that I'm deliberately connecting with.
Okay.
And so it helps you focus. And then some of it is the linear mind won't understand. If you want to we can over explain, and it will.
But you'll feel it.
You'll feel it. So let's do I'll do a breath.
Let's do it.
Yeah, let's do that again.
Okay.
We'll do this. And we'll do one more. And you can pause and just notice, do you feel more focused?
I feel a little different.
You do?
I do.
Okay, and then this is forging the core. So that's where the energy body connects at the heart.
And this is just...
So you're opening a space for it to land.
Here.
Yeah, and you will see statues in Mexico. There's a little box, and there's a little man inside there.
Oh.
So that's like,
The little man is the energy body.
you could say that's the energy body. It's not necessarily always little, but let's do a breath.
Okay, let's do a breath.
And you keep exhaling, because most of us have more air to exhale than we realize. And this is called the wings of recapitulation. Now we're going to inhale really big, but yeah. And then exhale. Keep exhaling. And you pause. So
And
that's the
what
wings
did
of
that do to my
recapitulation.
energy body?
Well, one thing it did was got you breathing, and it got you connecting with the fact that you're a whole sphere. And that sphere has what's behind you as well as what's in front of you.
So you're acknowledging the energy body so it can become, in a sense, more alive and more part of us.
Absolutely.
Oh.
Absolutely.
And then the idea of recapitulation, did we do anything for recapitulation?
Recapitulation is what it's all about, really, on one level. It's
Define it.
Recapitulation, you could call it self-review.
Life review.
Life review. It's very specific, and there's different ways to do it. And one of the ways that we're doing it right now is called Theater of Infinity. It's one of the ways that came into the lineage. We'll get to that. So recapitulation is becoming aware of assumptions, but especially patterns that we do.
But isn't it also when I've done it, because I've done it as it's been described in Castaneda's book.
Yes.
Also in the Sergio Magana Toltec tradition. You know him, Sergio Magana?
I got to know about him through when Rennie talked to you.
Yeah, his interviews are
very
great. He does the
interesting.
Obsidian black mirror practice where all your stuff comes up as you see it in the mirror.
Wonderful.
And then you get to recapitulate it.
Beautiful.
So what I've understood about recapitulation, you go back to those key points or major points in your life. I mean, of course, you can do it about everything in your life, everybody. But if you go to the key points, you start to breathe the energy in that you left.
Absolutely.
And you breathe the energy out that was left in you from those things.
Right. And so you can do what we just did. That's a breath that helps you clear that. Like if you've just reviewed a scene or you're about to review a scene from your life, then you can frame it with these passes. For example, these energy passes, magical passes.
Have you done a complete recapitulation of your life?
It's never done.
But have you done like 12 months of like constant recapitulate or 18 months?
I didn't work that way.
Oh, okay.
And you know what? It's most of us don't have that kind of time. So there was an era described in Casteneda's books, and Taisha had that time. For me, the way my training was, we do it through participation, putting on a tensegrity workshop. There will be a lot of situations that come up, working with your colleague, Rennie and I, collaborating on things. It will bring up where are my patterns? And then I will recapitulate 5 minutes ago. Okay, how did I respond to that situation, and how might I respond better? I will sweep back, I'll breathe back any judgments that I might have left on somebody. And sometimes just the act of setting the intent to breathe back judgments makes you realize you had judgments. Right. Because we think we have truth. We think that this person did something wrong.
So we'll recapitulate this
interview
so you pull as we do it.
Well, in a sense. And then you exhale if you took anything on, like she said I was, fat or stupid or whatever, or he said that I was.
So you're always you should
exhale it. You don't need to
have
have that
we could
sticking
recapitulate
on you.
ourselves.
Well, and the recapitulation, in that sense, if I shift my position, like, oh, I'm a little more present. That's part of recapitulation. I'm about to say something that something in me tells me there's a feeling that's not going to go over well. It's not going to be productive. And you may be reviewed before. You take a pause, and you know what? Don't say it. Listen. That's recapitulation.
Right.
Also.
So it's noticing your patterns of behavior.
And making choices in the present moment. So
to not do that, you mean?
Yeah, but that will take you back through the past.
To
and
your
there
history.
will be, it'll take you back through. If I, for example, get in the body position of yesterday when I was at the store and the salesperson wanted to tell me to buy the product that had a sulfate in it. And I'm so enlightened.
That idiot.
We don't want sulfates. And I'm going to judge. Then I'm going to pause. What am I doing with my body? Oh, my solar plexus got tight there. My breath stopped.
Oh.
My feet weren't even connected to the earth. What earth? What are we talking about? And you know what? It was all about protecting the earth, but I'm not connected. And I'm judging somebody. So what kind of environmental wizard am I in that moment?
Right.
But let's not get too heavy. Let's just correct it now.
So,
okay, so I would inhale back.
Well, do the recapitulation breath. Do you mind?
Like not at all.
Because I
so
want to
I'll
really
think
see
of
it.
that moment with her. But this will do it too.
Okay.
But I can also pause. Okay, and I'm pulling back energetic cords, but that happens. I don't have to usher
You're
that.
breathing in.
I'm breathing in what I left behind there that wasn't
in
really
that
helpful.
person or in the situation.
And then I'm exhaling.
The
She
stuff,
probably maybe thought that righteous.
the stuff that she left in you.
Yeah, if there is anything.
Yeah.
And you do it a couple times. Then I pause, and I can look at that scene again, and I can think about, okay, what would I do next time? And what I would do is acknowledge her expertise in the area. That would be one option. She really knows about this product that happens to have one item that I don't approve of, but hey, she really has some expertise and she has some pride there. So acknowledge that, and then maybe ask.
Acknowledging the person
rather
instead
than
of taking on their, because when you judge them, you're taking on the energy, you're leaving that energy,
You know what? When you judge them, you're bonding.
Right.
There's no stickier glue to somebody or to an experience than judging
That's
it.
why our families are they last to be recapitulated. You know,
Well,
because of
our
all that
families,
stuff.
our families are a huge gift in that way
Yes.
because they teach us a lot. There's no escape. You can't just you can't just judge and then walk off.
But you know,
you
Florinda
have
also,
to work it out.
Florinda also talked about recapitulating at the end of every day. You review
Absolutely.
your day and
Yeah.
say, okay, where did I fall into? Where did I judge? And you just breathe them out and in. And then
And you can also practice. For example, I could practice, and Carol Teagues would say, "Talk to your chair." Just practice. Say it out loud. What do I want to say to this person tomorrow when I see them again? Or just practice. What would I say differently the next time? And play it out. You know, stand up. Okay, I'm going to breathe, and I'm going to say, "Oh, you know, that's really great. Thank you for sharing that with me."
Yeah.
And you know, I'm really concerned about this element. What do you think?
Well, talk
You know?
about the theater of infinity, which is what Carol Teagues, you know, the associate of Castaneda, the Nagual woman. Does she still call herself the Nagual woman?
She doesn't,
Oh, well.
because she's like, Nawal refers to that mystery of the energy body, the world that we, you know, those seers talk about the known, the unknown,
And the
and the
unknowable.
knowable. And the Nawal is taking us toward the edge of what can be known. And it goes into that realm of the unknowable. So there's a lot of respect. And the term Nawal would mean somebody who naturally has a natural connection with the energy body, and then who has taken on this shamanistic training. And
You
the
know how I define the
recapitulation.
unknown, the known and the unknowable?
How?
Is the known is what's past, the unknown is future, and the unknowable what's present.
Oh, interesting.
Yes, that's how I
Interesting.
understood that.
Well, there's some elements,
Because it is unknowable, the present.
there's definitely unknowable elements of the
But there's
present.
some-
And there's things that I think we know and things we don't know in the present.
But if you're
and
really
the past.
present, we don't know anything, I think.
I agree with you.
But
But if we're really present, we also know in the past there's stuff that was unknowable in the past. Because
Yeah.
a lot of times we want to explain what happened. And we can also, this theater that you're asking about,
yeah,
you can, and this is what we do in our workshops now and our online classes sometimes, is that you get into, okay, I would then go, after I did what I just did with that scene with the woman in the store, then I would practice with a friend, a witness, and I would let them play my part. And I would tell them how to hold my body and my breath and what to say, and I would play the woman in the store.
and what would that do? You
That would give
change
me,
roles.
first of all, empathy,
Ah.
feeling. We go back to the feeling again, right?
Right, for that person. Well, she's just trying to do her job and tell you
And
about
she's
the-
actually doing it quite well. She's taking a lot of pride in it. She just has a different point of view.
But by doing that, what does that do for you?
It gives me another perspective.
And
I
then
get out
what-
of the solidity and the rigidity of me,
Of your
me,
position.
me as the only thing, right? There's there's way more than that.
There's way more than me.
Yeah, we need, this is a vehicle. We're not trying to get rid of being aware of ourselves, but this excessive, Carlos would talk about excessive self-reflection. What about me? It's all about me. That her talking that way is about me. Well, no,
Enough
not
about
really.
me. What do you think of me? You know that joke?
That's it. So it gives you, and the theater started with Magical Past series where you would step into the awareness of a butterfly. You do the butterfly form, or you do the whale, or you practice the wolf. That gives you, for a moment, you get a glimpse of another awareness. It's a shift of the assemblage point of our orientation to reality. And then you can come back, then I can be a little more, I have more context for being in this human interaction. So it gives us context. And so that theater evolved into, okay, we can glimpse other life forms. Why don't we glimpse the perspective of another human?
But you also get into it, I think, in this theater of the infinity, which you'll be doing all over the country, right? I
Yeah.
mean, that's like you're traveling and doing this.
Yeah.
You get into what you want in your life, and how do you, isn't there something about
Absolutely,
that? Yeah, talk
absolutely.
about that.
What do you want? What do you feel like your purpose is?
Mhm.
And again, we come back to feeling. It's that intelligent
Yeah.
feeler in us. What do you want to dream? Somebody wants to dream a project, like you're producing a show.
Right.
You want to produce a show with Deepak Chopra, which I saw that you did.
I have done that.
Yeah.
I've already dreamt that. That's
It's pretty
over.
awesome. So going forward, you want to produce a show with
Like Sting.
with Sting. Okay. So then Theater of Infinity, I'm going to look at mapping out the terrain. Okay, what do I want? What does it look like? And you might have images around you. or stones that represent,
Yeah.
you know, this is Sting, and then this is me talking to it. You can do those things.
Right.
But you look at, what is my intent? What's the purpose of it? Check in, get quiet, and then play out scenarios. And your imagination will tell you as you go about your day thinking about Sting, you might hit something that says, oh, that's impossible. You know, what?
But
give me
you
an
play it
example.
out. No,
what would be an obstacle, for
well,
example?
no, we're not in that, because I think.
You
that,
then
but let me try something that's even bigger than
you
that.
play out the interview with Sting. You could play
right,
it out.
I could play that out, but I
Yeah.
want something bigger than that. I mean, that's great.
Okay.
But, you know, this book that I'm writing, I would like it to be like a #1 bestseller.
Okay. And so, what is the intent of the book?
Right.
Who's it going to reach?
Right.
You can connect with those people on an energetic level before you ever meet them.
So
and
I
then
play
you can
out
meet
that
them
role.
Also. You can play out the role. You imagine yourself, or you can sit at your desk.
Yeah.
You know, what is a #1 bestseller? How would you play that? Then you could be giving your thank you speech for
So
the
I
award.
act out as if it's already happened.
You can definitely do
my
that.
Pulitzer Prize winning
You can do that.
Yeah.
And for me, if you connect with the purpose of it, things align. Your energy body really will come to you.
The purpose
with
of
their
why.
purpose of
Not
it.
that I just want to do that.
Yeah,
for
because
no,
if it's all ego.
Yeah,
and
yeah, no. But if I want to do
yeah.
it for a bigger reason, like I want this book to affect people and
now
change
your energy
their,
body is right in there with you, going, "We like
Did you just
this."
feel that?
I did.
You did. Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah. No,
So-
that's the reason. It's like, you know,
Yeah,
because
and yeah.
I think there's something important that could shift people in this book that I'm writing. And so by aligning my energy body to my purpose, what happens then to the future?
Well, the future starts becoming the present. It's
Oh.
we're meant to dream. We're meant to have these experiences. We're meant to really
We're meant to dream. I like that. No one, I mean, that's
And-
why we're here.
dreaming, meaning that you can see a possibility. Something comes into you. It might have been your idea, or it might be something you're just receiving, you know, from the sea of awareness that Carlos, this is awareness is an environment, and you pick up on this possibility, and then the difference between picking up on it versus doing it, not versus, but the next part of dreaming would be to carry it out. Okay, what's the next step? And you'll get a flash on something, or you go ask somebody who's done that, and there'll be something that they tell you to do that really resonates, or something they tell you to do that you're like, oh God, that's really hard for.
Yeah.
Then you want to clear out what's the obstacle there.
Uh-huh.
That's where you can play the theater again, recapitulate. You can also recapitulate all the moments where you really did do something that reminds you, here I have this direct channel with the energy body. It reminds your being
But
that
I
I've
could
done
also,
this before.
I could also play out the future, like accepting the award, or seeing,
could.
and like you know, having you're playing the part of, let's say, the committee that's giving me an award for a
Absolutely.
best-selling book, and I have you prepare a little speech, and then you say that. So as I reenact a sort of fantasy future, how does that start to shift me as opposed to just being a fantasy?
Well, it's first of all, you've set the intention.
Uh-huh.
And so now that's what we are. We have this ability to intend endless things.
Endless
And
things.
Really, there's no limit. There is, you know, we're in the
No,
human
there's no
form.
limit to
There
what
is
we
the
can
unknowable.
dream, though.
Yeah, there is the unknowable. So
Which
we
is
have the
always-
humbleness. We have the
No, no,
humbleness.
yes.
There's things that are beyond our scope. But there's many, many things that we haven't even tapped.
But
that
the
are not.
unknowable is only unknowable until it is known. I mean, it's,
Don would say different. There is an area humbly we can't touch.
we can, but we can get
That's beyond us because you know there's a universe of intelligence out there, and
right. But we can get
So,
closer and
and-
closer to something.
we
can't
can get close. Well, yeah, but there's
mean,
so
I'm
much that's unknown right now. For me to be occupied with the unknowable, let's be busy with the
But
unknown.
everything is unknowable. I mean, in the sense that the universe is
Yeah.
a mystery, and if
It's a mystery, and so let's start learning. Unknown just means something you have never done before. So you practice.
But there's dreams I think we also have yet to dream instead of. I mean, yes, it's
That's
great to
right.
fulfill the dreams we have.
I agree
and
with you
then we can
100%.
Make ourselves available to what has been yet to dream.
That's what the whole thing is. If you respond
You know.
with that openness, and you take this step, and you approach that dream, or you even realize that dream, that opens up many more dreams. And if you get a book that affects many people, think of all those dreams that open.
Right.
That we're dreamers. We create.
We
like
are all
that.
dreamers.
We create. Ultimately, Carlos would say, there's worlds upon worlds.
Right.
One thing opens to another.
Right. I do these workshops about creating new realities and things like that. So I'm
what it is.
planting the seeds of
Yeah.
perception.
Yeah.
It's all about perception.
Mm-hmm.
Perception creates the reality. So I asked, did Newton discover gravity or did he invent it? What's already here that we have yet to notice that we can then bring into this reality? So much is right here in this space.
That's the wonder of it, because it never ends.
It
never
it's
ends.
Infinite. The
It's infinite.
unknown is infinite.
Yeah.
Forget about the unknowable.
Right. We got plenty to do.
Right. Just
Yeah.
being present
Yeah.
in our feeling body. So
Yeah.
you're saying just be present and feel
Present and feel.
and dream.
And dream meaning be open to what the openings are. Sometimes things might look impossible. All right, pause and for me, ask infinity.
Right.
That's
what
the description. Ask infinity,
Ask-
or say to infinity, I'm here. I'm open. I want to see more. Something will flash in your mind. Somebody will call.
That's creativity.
Something
is that.
will open.
Yeah.
It's all about creativity.
Yeah. I think Joseph Campbell says, if you are in that state, there'll be doors where you thought there were only walls.
That's it.
And so, what's the point of it all? Why are you here? Not here, but why are you here in the body? Why are we all here? Why are we dreaming? Why?
Well, for me, there's a few layers to that. The first thing is that we're here to learn. And the way Carlos would describe it actually does link to Theater of Infinity. He would say the Theater of Infinity is a theater that acknowledges that we're playing parts, that we are temporarily in this form. We come from infinity.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to return to infinity, and we are these bubbles of awareness, if you will, and we're taking a tour of awareness, and we're learning. We're gathering
But why
the
are we?
experience, and then it comes back to infinity, and that enhances the awareness of infinity. So beyond that, why? That's the nature of of intent, is that it's enhancing its awareness all through our experience. So as I'm looking at you, infinity's looking at you. As you're looking at me, infinity's looking at me. And
Right. And the more we drop away from the personality, the more infinity is coming through us.
Absolutely.
In that way.
Yeah.
The less identified we are with the form, the personality, the persona, then that increases infinity more.
well,
or
if I'm less occupied with how do I look, I can notice, I can actually, for example, be more present with you, and then I find out something that you've learned that's really interesting, or something that you like. I can notice. There's a flock of birds flying over there. That's really beautiful.
I guess I'm getting at what Don Juan says, that the ultimate journey, or the definitive journey, was to take this awareness with us into the next attention. To I guess enliven the energy body, so it becomes the life body, and you burn from a fire from within. I mean, that's that's a big dream, but
and ultimately, it's about living with that. Where does my fire light up? And we've recently had some workshops. That's something we're exploring in classes. The fire from within. What is that? For example, when we were out here before we started to talk, you were telling me this beautiful thing about the meaning of alphabet.
Yes.
The container of energy.
Yes.
Alpha, energy, bet, container,
Yes.
and it was very moving to me. And so
because we're talking about women and men being different, but what
that lights my fire. That's like awareness. That's awareness. Something gets lit up. Things get connected.
I guess it's silly to ask why.
If you love to play violin, that lights your fire. Why? Because it's there could be lots of different reasons. I really love language, and I was raised to be working with expression of language, and there's this beautiful. Does that come from? Bet is Hebrew, and Alpha is Greek.
No, they're both Hebrew.
They're both Hebrew. So here's this beautiful.
Greek.
So here's this beautiful wisdom tradition that has these things that have congealed into words. The words have a lot of power.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is if you've tried to just step away and let the words do everything and you're not connected anymore. But hey, you can see from those words, alphabet, we think that's just something we learned in kindergarten. Well, yeah, but alphabet, the container of energy, leads us to the womb, the organ of
and it leads us to perception
life
itself. You know?
Yeah.
Language leads us to perception.
Yeah.
And yeah.
So if I'm all caught in the argument I had with the taxi driver, which we didn't have an argument with a taxi driver today, but
I do all the time.
For example, I've had them before in the past, but if I'm all caught up with that, you might not have been able to convey that to me. I would have missed that.
Right. I'm Alan Steinfeld with Nyei Murez and the Magical Passes and Clear Green. You can go find out all about this at the Clear Green website, which is featuring the work of Carlos Castaneda. Thank you for watching. I'm Alan Steinfeld for Newrealities. Check me out at newrealities.com.